Welcome back to the Good Old Hockey Podcast. This is episode number 68. One more episode till the big one. We'll have to do something. Close. I know, do something special for it. But we've got a playoff episode today since all the games have been played since you guys are watching. We'll be missing what's the only game we won't be talking about? Game one, as far as I think there's three.
Habs, Caps.
Yeah.
That's
Kings,
tonight.
Oilers.
Kings, Oilers is tonight, right?
Yep. And then I think the Tampa Bay and Panthers.
Yeah.
Game one. So we're recording this on Monday, so it's a little delayed. But if anything, we're kind of going to give our prediction for the rest of the playoffs for these first round games. But first, be sure you hit that subscribe button. We are really close kind of to 100 subs. We're trying to hit 100 subs before playoffs. We're very close. We're, I think, around 40 away or so. So help us out there. If you're listening on Spotify, do the same thing. And follow our Instagram too, because we have some clips that people just love to hate. We got haters.
We got motivators, is what I like to say. We got motivators.
They hate us because they ain't us.
Exactly, because they ain't us.
Yeah. They hate us because they ain't us. But we're going to go through some of those comments first, and then we're going to get into the playoffs. So if you clicked on this video for the playoffs and don't want to hear these insane comments, skip ahead. But we're going to rifle off some of these and react to them. A lot of them are just... Basically, the clip was about us talking about Celebrini versus Hudson as a Calder favorite. Obviously, we're just defending Macklin Celebrini. I think at this point, it's kind of obvious that Lane Hudson's going to win.
No.
Just based
I'm
on the
still
voters.
In denial.
Yeah, I am too. Also, speaking of Macklin Celebrini, look at these shirts we got on. Mac Attack. Alan's got one too.
Pretty sweet.
Got it in white. I got it in black. You can visit the link down below to go get your own if you want one. Use code GOHP15. You'll get 15% off.
Sweet.
To use that code. If you're a Mac Attack fan or Macklin Celebrini fan, if you're not, you probably don't want it. But
we should make some Hudson merch. Lane Hudson merch. Put it in our bio.
Put it in a like a garbage can or something like that. Okay. Oh, this one's my favorite. So I commented first. I said Celebrini should be in high school and is putting up almost point per game numbers on the worst team in the league. Geezer72 said, if you round up. And I said, yes, I'm rounding up. He said, so it's not really a point per game, is it? And then I said, hence why I used the word almost. No response from him after that one. But it was just funny. I was like, yeah, and I used the word almost. I know it's not exactly point per game, but it's damn near.
I commented, Nick Suzuki is the second coming of Wayne Gretzky, and 10 people liked that comment, which is kind of scary because that means there's 10 Canadians fans out there that agree with the point that Nick Suzuki is the second coming of Wayne Gretzky, which I don't know about that.
Or they know that you're joking.
I hope they do.
Yeah.
I hope and pray they do. I'm assuming Cody knew I was joking because he responded with a fire emoji.
Yeah, I don't know. That's his go-to. So. His go-to is just the fire emoji.
Fire.
Every single post he makes. Watch, I guarantee if they win tonight on Monday, I'll put money on it that he's going to put a fire emoji. If they win. Okay, this guy said, Celebrini is on power play 1, and 22 of 70 points are power play points. First off, he did not score 70 points, so I don't know what he's talking about. Then he said, Hudson is on power play 1, 26 of 66 points are power play points. Pretty comparable, I would say. Yeah, Celebrini has more points, but Hudson has a historic rookie season. Someone said, Hudson didn't play on power play 1 the first 20 games, just to remind you. Well, Macklin Celebrini didn't play the first 20 games.
Yes.
Or,
12.
Yeah, 12 games
Close
of the season. Close enough. You got the points wrong. Celebrini doesn't have more points. But if you want to look at secondary points and assists, I haven't looked it up yet in a while, but
it's
I'm
like
sure
over half his assists.
Yeah.
My favorite comment on here was from Sasha Lagarde. I mean, these guys are clearly Hab haters. It's obvious by their choice of words describing any of the Habs players. Yes, we are. Yes, I am. Yeah. I do hate the Habs.
Yeah.
I think they suck.
Yep.
Have fun getting bounced in round 1 by Washington.
Yeah.
That is all.
I think the most, like, I was talking with Scott. Shout out to Scott if you're listening. But the fan bases all across hockey are
awful,
toxic. Everyone's toxic. We're toxic.
Yeah.
I just think, like, I don't know, like something about Canadians fans though. They really love which I love about it. Like, I love how passionate they are about their team. But when you're gassing up like Cole Caulfield scoring the best goal scorer of all time, and the guy's just almost cracked 40, which I'm so happy for him that he finally almost scored 40.
Good for him, American player. Yeah. He's going to be awesome beating Canada in the Olympics in a couple years.
Yeah. No, I guess
next year.
Yeah, next year. Yeah, but it's just like, it's kind of wild. I mean, I think, again, everyone has... I'm trying to think, is there like a tame fan base that's just not insane? I mean, I guess...
I've never spoken to a Minnesota Wild fan.
That's what I was thinking. That was the first one that came to my head.
I don't think I know any of them.
But it's like,
I don't know a Panthers fan.
Yeah. And even then, like, I'm trying to think of like comments last year, and it's like, I think everyone just called them casuals because
they're from Florida.
Yeah, and they just seem like they don't have a big fan base. Mm-hmm. But I think, honestly, like, the Canadians haven't been good enough to, like, warrant any, like, people don't take them serious, whereas now they're in the playoffs. But, yeah, I mean, I think all fan bases are kind of crazy, but that's the sport of hockey. There was one. Do you have another one?
That was the one that stuck out to me. There's also shit podcast. Do better. You got 8 likes. Let's go.
Yeah. There was a lot of quit the podcast, all the stuff like that. No.
There always is.
Yeah, we always got that stuff. Someone said something about making podcast equipment more expensive. I've heard that probably 20 times now.
Guess what? We already own it.
I know. That was the thing. I was like, guess what? It wouldn't do anything.
Retroactively make podcast equipment more expensive. Yeah. I can still afford it, pal.
Yeah. Yeah, that too. There was one, we got one a while ago. It was like, put tariffs on.
Yeah, that show was hilarious.
I think it was the USA versus Canada one, which is a hilarious little thing if you know anything about politics.
It's always Canadians that like to hate. You notice that?
Yeah. No, it is. But
you guys got a problem.
I'll hate back on them. I don't really give a shit.
51st state.
Yeah. Someone said W rage bait. I love that. Someone kind of caught on. Call me when Celebrini does something historic. He's the first 18-year-old to score 25 goals since Jeff Skinner in 2011.
Jeff Skinner.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
First 18-year-old to score 25 goals, which I think Michkov passed him with 27, but Michkov's 19.
Think about it this way. It took Hudson 3 years to get good enough to be in debate of who's better.
True.
Between him and Celebrini.
Yeah.
Took him 3 extra years.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
3 extra. Imagine how good Celebrini's going to be as a 21-year-old.
Yeah, true.
That guy's going to be nasty.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Hudson will be 24, physical prime.
Yeah.
Celebrini, barely drink.
Yeah. Someone said you guys are clueless. LOL. Watch a Abs game first. Maybe. No.
Watch a Avs game first or Habs? Oh.
HABS. Response to that, I have watched a couple games, but they're on the East Coast. We have a West Coast bias. We've said this for years on end. Mm-hmm. Or not years on end, but this past season, we've always mentioned that we have a West Coast bias because it seems like everyone has an East Coast bias. Mm-hmm. So guess what? We have a West Coast bias, and we're not watching games when I'm still at work having a job.
Yeah, no.
Unlike you guys commenting.
Canadians fans don't have jobs.
Yeah, true. The one that I saw a lot is them mentioning how the Canadians are still in a rebuild. Which to me, I'm sorry, but you guys are in the fucking playoffs. You are no longer rebuilding. Maybe last year, yeah, you picked 4th. That was, you could classify it as retooling or rebuilding, but you guys are in the playoffs. There's no debate. You guys are pushing for the playoffs. Of course, he's going to get more points. Celebrini was eliminated, and the Sharks were eliminated, almost a month ago now?
Yeah.
So I just find it funny when they say that they're rebuilding still, when they're literally in the playoffs.
This is the definition of a growth year for them. Mm-hmm. This is kind of what we want out of the Sharks next year. is maybe not making the playoffs. I think that's a lofty goal. The Canadians absolutely did well in a bad Eastern Conference, right?
Yeah.
Which is great for them. Good for them.
Yeah.
You get to play the Buffalo Sabres 4 times a year. Good. Thumbs up. It's not a rebuilding year, though. You know you're going to be competitive.
Yeah.
It was kind of understood going into the season. They're not going to be anywhere near as bad as they were these last couple of years.
Yeah.
And you have guys making big steps. As much as I like to joke about Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, they both made huge steps this year. Uri Slavkovsky was great this year.
Yeah.
Right? These guys that you've drafted during your rebuild are now getting better. They're making steps to becoming good players in the NHL.
Right.
And they're becoming great players in the NHL. That's moving out of a rebuild.
Yeah.
If you're a buyer at the trade deadline, you're not still in a rebuild.
Yeah. No.
That's just kind of how it is. So it's like, yes, could this have been seen as a rebuilding year? Yeah. At the beginning of the season. But once you guys were competing halfway through the year, it's like, you're not rebuilding anymore.
No. Even last year, it's like, why did you finish that low?
Yeah.
Because they did have, they had Patrick Laine, right? Season, or they get him in the off season?
I think they picked him up at the very end of last season.
Okay.
Something like that.
Regardless, you still have Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. And maybe you could call it a rebuilding year last year. But to finish 4th, and I think they got kind of lucky getting Ivan Demidov at 4.
Oh, absolutely.
The 2 above them were just idiotic.
They picked him up 5.
Did they?
Yeah. It was at 5.
Who was 4? Because I know it was...
Oh, gosh.
Obviously celebrating it. And then it was Artem Levshinov.
Yep.
And then Beckett
Seneca.
Who was 3rd.
That was an awful pick.
Yeah. And
I forget.
Any of those, like, Chicago, frankly, should have taken Demidov.
Yeah, that was stupid.
Regardless, like... He also made the Stanley Cup Finals 4 years ago.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah.
Which it was a COVID year, and it was kind of
a weird year, but
they were playing in Canada, and they were the best team in Canada somehow.
Yeah, it's because Carey Price won on a heater.
Yeah.
Remember when we talk about goalies just going on a heater and going to the Cup final?
Carey Price.
Yeah, Carey Price.
Yeah. But still, it's like, I'm sorry, but you guys are not rebuilding anymore.
No.
And to say that, to put the 2 players, our main thing in that was Lane Hudson has a fantastic team, not fantastic, but he has a solid core of players that he can dish the puck to.
Yeah.
And he's doing a great job on power play being the quarterback. Good for him. But
passing the puck to Nick Suzuki so he can give it to Cole Caulfield and score.
Exactly. It's like, okay.
It's like Evan Bouchard putting up numbers. It's like, oh, yeah, he's giving the puck to McDavid and Draisaitl. Of course he's going to put up numbers.
Exactly.
Nobody sees Bouchard as an elite NHL defenseman.
No.
I mean, maybe some Oilers fans do.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, that guy's not an elite NHL defenseman. He passes the puck to Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
You could put Joe Schmo out there, and he's probably going to put up assists.
Yeah.
And as much as we like to hate on Suzuki and Caulfield, they've both been great this year.
They have.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think I'd do well on a power play pairing with them. I just pass the puck.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Lane Hudson's a fantastic player, but our main point of that whole video is like, just trying to show how people are overlooking because it's like, oh, he's a defenseman, blah, blah, blah. And I made a comment about his defensive play and people were bringing up stats about, stuff like that. But I can bring up
After 4 nations.
Yeah. We said after 4 nations that
it got way tighter.
Everyone was on pace everyone had like 20-ish points after 4 nations, all the top rookies. So not that big a deal. And then his defensive play, again, if you want to bring up stats, I have a fantastic advanced stat that shows he's like in the 9th percentile. I don't even know how the stat works, but I just know the number's low.
The higher you are, the better it goes. I don't think we could show that on screen because it's some guy's post, but
we can. I'll at least bring it up.
We shout him out. Whatever.
Look at it. I don't even know if
it's even strength goals against. He's in the 9th percentile.
Yeah, which
is awful.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Mainly, a lot of times people take us way too serious, and I think it comes out because we're just in a podcast, and if people are seeing us for the first time, probably thinking that we're super serious about everything we say, which is fair. I get it. If you're coming across the first time, sometimes our sarcasm doesn't hit, but you clearly had said I'm being sarcastic.
I did.
Yeah. But yeah, we're just having fun.
Yeah.
But
if you don't want to get mad, watch the full podcast, link in bio.
Yeah. Exactly. Very true. We still hate on him, but
Gonna go through your bracket.
yeah, let's go through the bracket of the playoffs. So, first couple things, let's talk about the
Games that have already happened.
yeah games that have already happened that we can talk about. Why can't I see playoff? Okay, first one I think to be mentioned is the Maple Leafs and Senators.
Mm-hmm.
We had said last week that the Senators' vibes are high, and we also made a post about that, and people took that as us saying that the Senators were going to win.
Yeah.
And also people were hating on the fact that I said something about Toronto always choking.
Yeah.
They're like, it's a new year, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. It's been 58 years, 60, almost 60 years since they've done anything in the playoffs.
My dad wasn't alive.
Yeah, neither was mine.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I don't know, you can't look past that.
Yeah.
But anyways, that game, the Senators lost, what was it, 6-2?
6-2.
Yeah. Frankly, I think that was a lack of experience game for them. They took a lot of penalties, a lot of cross checks, which was weird.
Yeah,
However, there were some cross checks where I thought that the Leafs were kind of diving a little bit, embellishing a little bit, whether the refs caught that or not. But it just seemed like it's playoff hockey. You're shoving guys. I think there's a point where you can't bring the stick above your hips and hit the guy above his hips. Like, you got to keep that stick low. But there were some points where the Leafs would do the same thing and the Senators were, strong on their feet and didn't get knocked off.
I didn't watch this game. What the hell happened at 1916 in the third?
Oh, so at the very end of the game.
Face was away from the mic. I don't know if that picked that up, but oh my goodness, I'm looking at it. There's like 15 penalties at 1916 in the third.
Mm-hmm. So what happened there was basically at the end of it was like 40 seconds left. And it just was a bloodbath where they were shoving players,
6-2.
punching. Yeah, Max Domi, like, I forget, someone laid a hit, and it was kind of late, and then they all just went after each other. Max Domi actually grabbed someone and, like, uppercutted them perfectly. It was like...
Well, every punch from Max Domi is going to be an uppercut.
Yeah, that too, yeah, when you're that short.
That's funny.
Yeah. But, yeah, I think the Senator, I don't think it's done. I don't think it's Leafs in 4.
No.
It could be. But the Leafs looked good. I'll say that. Stolarz looked fantastic, which is something they've always lacked, was a good goalie.
Yeah.
Stolarz looking hot right now, but that could end at any minute. And I think we'll see how Senators come back game 2. I think, and this is going out Wednesday, so.
That'll be that night, right?
I think Tuesday they play, right? I think they play tomorrow night. Yeah, they play tomorrow night. So we'll see. If Leafs go up 2-0, it might be a little chalked for the Senators just because of their lack of experience. But if Senators can at least tie it up, whether it's they're down 2-0 and come back 2-2, then it's, I say, series on. But, I mean, my motto has always been the series hasn't begun unless someone's lost at home.
Yeah.
So if Toronto goes up 2-0 and then Senators win 2 at home, series is on. Like, it's still hasn't even begun yet.
The Sens would have to drop one at home for me to be worried.
Yeah.
Because you're playing in Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto home games, frankly, are always packed, and it's always loud. I don't know if you heard the Brady sucks chants. Oh, my God.
No.
That was insane.
Yeah.
There's a clip from, I think it was in the second period, the Leafs fans started chanting Brady sucks, and it was the entire stadium. It was nuts. That's a tough arena to play in.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you got to win a game there to take the series.
Yeah.
But, like, if you're going to do it against any team, Toronto's the one you want to be playing.
Yeah.
Also, if you look at the stats, like, behind just the score, Toronto was 3 for 6 on power plays. That's something that Ottawa is going to have to figure out.
Yeah. If they're not taking penalties, it's not going to be...
If they're not taking penalties, that's a 3-2 game.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there was an empty net goal. I didn't look that closely. No. But that's a 3-2 game, and Ottawa outshot them by a wide margin.
Yeah. And Stolarz played great. Like, he was stopping everything.
You still have Linus Ullmark in net.
Yeah.
He's great. He can steal a game. He can steal a couple games.
Yeah.
He might not have played fantastic. I didn't watch the game, but
yeah.
Still, it's like you're going to have a bad game every now and again. As long as it's not every game and he turns into Connor Hellebuck of last year.
Yeah.
I think Ottawa is going to be perfectly fine. They just got to figure out a way to score on Stolarz.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think from watching that game, it's just they were juicy playoff goals right in front of the net, rebounds. And most of those goals by the Leafs, too, were, was it that? Yeah, it was that game where there were just some weird bounces where it's like, that's how you got to win playoff games. You don't need to have a ton of skill. If you play hockey the old school way, that's how you win a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And they can do it. But next team that we can talk about is the Hurricanes and Devils, game 1.
Oh, walloping.
Yikes. Devils, you're in trouble. I think the season's over.
Yeah. I think everybody was kind of expecting that, but that was not a close hockey game at all.
No.
That did not look like a playoff hockey game.
No, and I think the Devils are in a weird spot where they started hot and you lost your best player.
Mm-hmm.
One of the, I would put Jack Hughes is their best player.
Yeah, by far.
Yeah. And then Luke Hughes goes down from a puck to the face.
Yep.
Cody Glass gets hacked by his own goalie.
Yeah.
And is out. Don't know if he's back for game 2 or going to be back for game 2, but it's just, I feel for you guys, Devils fans, because it's like you squeaked into playoffs, but this team just does not feel like I would rather see the Rangers play.
Yeah.
No offense.
I think it might be a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And this Devils team was beat the hell up.
Yeah.
Which sucks because the Devils are a fun team to watch when they're healthy.
Yeah.
They're a fun hockey team, and it'd be a competitive series if they had their entire roster, but unless Markstrom continues, he had a good game yesterday.
Yeah.
Unless he continues to just put the team on his back completely, I don't know how they're going to pull this out against the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes are a deep team.
They are.
They are good.
Yeah.
All the way down the lineup.
Yeah. And again, I think if New Jersey can somehow bounce back when this is out, if it's tied 1-1, then again, series on, all that stuff we just said is null and void. But I don't see it for the Devils. So I really don't. I could see Canes in 5.
Logan Stankoven with the 2-goal night.
Dude, yeah.
That's working out for him.
Yeah. Also, I saw that everyone involved in the Mikko Rantanen trade has 1 point, as at least 1 point, except for Mikko Rantanen.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Which brings us into Dallas versus Avalanche. I think for that game 1, Mackenzie Blackwood
is good.
Is an amazing goalie.
He's very good.
And as a Sharks fan, depressed we traded him, but again, we needed to.
Happy to see him succeed.
Yeah, happy to see him succeed. And realistically, for the Sharks, if we want to make playoffs in the next 3 years, it's tough to rob that guy. We also have Askarov.
Yeah.
And it's tough to rob that guy of what could be.
Of his prime.
Yeah. And he is showing out for Colorado. We'll see how game 2 goes tonight on Monday. But
what's scary for me about this Avalanche team, we'll get into the bracket a little bit in a minute, but what's scary for me about this Avalanche team is when they won the Cup, they have not had, let me start over here, since they've been good, since they drafted Cale Makar, they have not had a legitimate good goalie.
Yeah.
Right? They had Darcy Kemper for the longest time. They had Alexander Georgiev. Darcy Kemper was good.
Yeah.
He was actually great this year for the Kings. Mm-hmm. He was not great.
Yeah.
He, at no point in his tenure with the Avalanche was he a great bona fide number 1 guy. This is our guy forever.
Right.
We're not moving on from him. It's not like if somebody offered the Rangers in their prime a trade for Henrik Lundqvist with Carey Price. They're not getting rid of Henrik Lundqvist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now they have a goalie.
Yeah.
Which their roster makeup, if you look at it, it's not that far different from that team that won the Cup 3 years ago. Obviously, they had Nazem Kadri.
Yeah.
And a couple other guys, but if you look at their
They've
depth,
made up for it, though.
it's just as good.
Yeah.
Their defensive core is just as good, but now they have a goalie.
Yeah.
Which is terrifying. And this is Mackenzie Blackwood's breakout year.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, after this year, he's going to be seen as one of the best goalies in the NHL.
Yeah.
He's gross.
Yep. And he's a beast in the playoffs. If you
He
get
is.
a goalie who, frankly, like Hellebuck, who, could be a Vezina candidate.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't perform in playoffs, it doesn't matter. Like that goalie's,
Yeah.
he could be great during the regular season, sure. But if you don't have a beast in net, you're not winning the Stanley Cup.
No.
And Mackenzie Blackwood, if he continues what he did game 1 into game 2 and so on and so forth, the Avs are winning the Stanley Cup.
It's crazy. They're such a good team. And it's funny because we're talking about the Stars.
Yeah.
We've completely ignored the Stars in this entire matter.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have a couple guys out, right?
Yeah.
They have Robertson and they have Heiskanen are out.
Yeah.
But, like, even if they get those guys back, like, Heiskanen is the biggest blow, I think.
Yeah,
That team has enough offensive depth to cover for losing Jason Robertson. If you don't have Miro Heiskanen in, he's the focal point of your defense, right? Jake Ottinger is a great goalie. He did not play great in that game.
Yeah.
And you can't do it all back there.
No, you can't.
If they don't have Heiskanen for this series, this might be a quick series.
Yeah.
Which is nuts because we're talking about the Dallas Stars, and they are a nasty hockey team.
Yeah, I agree.
So I feel bad for Dallas Stars fans. It's not like they lost some like third pairing guy and a third liner.
Your best defenseman.
They lost one of your best forwards and your best defenseman by far.
Yep.
That's tough for them. This is going to be a tough series for Stars fans, I have a feeling. And
No, I agree.
it's just the Avalanche are scary.
Yeah.
They're a scary team this year.
And it is tough to go off one game, which is why this episode's kind of like a preview / like what we've seen from game 1. Which again, we'll get into like actual predictions a little bit after we talk about the next 2 games. But second to last one, Winnipeg and St. Louis. That game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs, ever. This year.
First Stanley Cup playoff game ever. Nothing's ever happened before.
Nothing ever. No, this is the first year of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But yeah, the Jets and Blues, that was a fire show game. I was actually golfing and I had it on my phone.
Yeah.
But the first the first 2 periods, I'd say, was really back and forth.
It was a weird hockey game.
Yeah. And we can kind of get into a debate because I feel like we have opposing views here on the goalies.
Yes.
But
big time.
I think that, and maybe we can save it for prediction. We'll just talk about the game for now. I thought that game was just kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Like back and forth. You're in Winnipeg. That place is the best playoff atmosphere, frankly, I've seen.
Rowdy as hell.
Yeah.
That was awesome to watch.
Yeah.
People going crazy the whole night out. Every year when the Jets are in the playoffs, the stadium looks so insane.
Yeah.
Because it's every single person in there is all wearing white. It looks crazy.
Yeah. I agree.
That game was very interesting. We do have some disagreements about the goaltending.
We'll get to it when we get to the preview because that's my deciding factor.
Yeah.
In that series. So we'll skip over that unless you have anything else about that game.
The first 2 Blues goals were freaking weird.
Yeah.
And cannot really be blamed on Hellebuck.
Same for the Jets though. Like
there was the other 3 though.
Yeah, no, I agree. I know it didn't look great, but
just that second Blues goal they scored. I forget which Jets defenseman was in front of the net, but the puck got like put on net. The guy kicks it straight to who was it? Straight to Oscar Sundqvist, and is right in the middle of the slot, wide open. It's like, what are you gonna do there?
Yeah.
You're Connor Hellebuck.
No, I agree, and I just think
not blaming him.
No, okay, we'll save it because
Anyways.
Okay. Vegas and Wild, that's the last game that we've watched. That game, I mean, honestly, we were talking about it before. Minnesota didn't look terrible. It was a close game. It came down to an empty net, and the score reflects a little bit different how the Wild played. I think ultimately you're playing against the Knights, and you cannot make mistakes because they will score. And that's, I think, really what happened. And if they can clean up those mistakes, then leaving guys wide open, stuff like that.
That was a fun hockey game to watch. That was so fast paced. That not at all what I was expecting. Because the Knights, I've never seen the Knights as like a fast paced hockey team. I feel like they're more like a
Possession.
2014 Los Angeles Kings style team where they're a little bit slower. They like to possess the puck. They put a lot of shots on net, and they just do everything right.
Yeah.
Right? But that was like a fast-paced, running guns, just fun hockey game to watch. I was watching that third period. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I thought Philip Gustafson played really well, despite a couple weird goals.
Yeah.
He looked good. Aiden Hill, I was telling my girlfriend how much I hate Aiden Hill and how his style of goaltending should not work, but for whatever reason, he's nasty.
Yeah.
He played well. That was a fun game to watch. That was a really fun game.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Very entertaining.
Yeah. And we'll see. I think we can get in predictions now, I guess, because we'll start from the top, what's on our screen. But we'll go back. Toronto Maple Leafs, Ottawa Senators. I think after game one, it's really tough to want to root for the Senators after that game one. Mm-hmm. But if they can, and I think they will, if they can get their shit together and stop taking so many penalties and not let this Battle of Alberta get in their own head, they can win this. They can win this series. I think the main X factor for the Maple Leafs is Stolarz.
Yeah.
And the core four, frankly, which they played fantastic.
They played great. Yeah. Mitch Marner had that gross goal. Yeah. Oh my God, that breakaway.
Yeah.
That was sick.
Yeah. But I think if Stolarz does not play well, the Senators can take this series, but I don't know. Well, what's your prediction for that?
I put this in. I'm going off my bracket, which I submitted before any of the games had started. Yeah. And I took Ottawa in 6. Maybe that's just stupid. This is possibly the easiest run to the finals that the Maple Leafs have had in the last 10 years. Frankly, just with their matchup in the first round, like Ottawa, first year making the playoffs since 2017, they're a young team. That should, for that team, be an easy first round.
Yeah.
As easy as it's going to get. And then realistically, your toughest matchup is going to be in the second round.
Yeah.
It's between Florida and Tampa.
Yeah.
Who both teams are very, very experienced, very good still. Mm-hmm. That's your toughest matchup of the playoffs.
After that,
if you look at the bottom half of the bracket, the Capitals, I love the Caps. I have them going deep, but that's probably the hardest team. I don't think Carolina's going to make any noise. No. I think they have the exact same problems they've had for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
They keep running it back, and it's just not working.
Yeah.
And then the Devils and the Canadiens, I think, are auto outs.
Yeah.
It's just... This should be an easy playoffs for the Leafs, but I don't see them going anywhere. So I'm still going Ottawa in 6.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Ottawa comes back tomorrow. Is it tomorrow they play?
Yep.
They play a cleaner game. Mm-hmm. It looked at least like they outplayed the Leafs, frankly.
Yeah. They got goalied.
Yeah. You get goalied, and that happens.
And then you take... What was it? 6 penalties?
6 penalties. That's tough.
Yeah.
And
you take 6 penalties, you're going to lose the game.
The Leafs are going to make you regret taking 6 penalties. Yeah. That's how their team's built.
Yeah.
So if they can clean it up, I think Ottawa genuinely stands a chance. And I took Ottawa in 6 games.
Yeah.
What about you?
I want to take Ottawa because I don't want to put any faith in the Leafs.
Yeah.
Because I just can't. I can't. After the amount of times I've watched them, heard them say this is our year.
Yeah.
It just something always falls apart. And maybe they can get past this first round. And they looked great. But I do think, and I want to root for the underdog in Ottawa in this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say Ottawa in 7. Mm-hmm. It's going to be in Toronto for that game 7.
I think realistically I should have picked Ottawa in 7.
Yeah.
Just because I don't see them taking 2 home games against the Leafs.
Yeah.
But I put it that way, so I got to run with it.
It's all right. I mean,
can't go back.
It could happen because, again, game 1, there's a stat that, I don't remember what the percentage is, but if you win at home your first game, you're 30% likely to win the series, or I don't know what the number is, but that's there. So it's tough, but yeah, I'm going to go out Senators in 7.
I think we're going to disagree on this next one. Tampa, Florida.
Yep.
Who do you have?
I got the Cats.
Yeah.
Cats in 6.
I got the Bolts.
Yeah.
Tampa is so good this year.
They are.
They're so good.
Yeah.
And if you look at their roster makeup, it's pretty similar to what they've won cups with and gone to the cup finals with. Mm-hmm. Florida's awesome. I love the Panthers, and I think the playoffs are better when the Panthers are going deep.
Yeah.
But I just think Tampa's star power and their scoring is just going to overtake. And you got Vasilevsky playing some of the best hockey of his career.
Yeah.
That's what I think that's the toughest part of the series for the Panthers, especially if Tkachuk isn't fully healthy.
Yeah. Which I think he Mark stoned his way in the playoffs.
I hope so for the for the plot, but like I don't see Florida beating this team.
Okay.
I really don't.
I think I'll say this. You said about the Lightning being close to that roster that they had when they won the cup. So are the Panthers.
Yeah.
The Panthers have added Seth Jones.
Yep.
Which it's tough to say because it's like, but Seth Jones has played in Chicago for the last how many years of his career.
Yeah.
So it's tough to really judge the guy. Was he getting overpaid for what he's doing in Chicago? Maybe, but we're going to see how he plays in the playoffs with this team. And this is the Panthers. They've shown that they're a playoff team. However, their problem is that they've gone deep now 2 years in a row. They're going to be gassed and tired, and they're still a young team. I think Bobrovsky, though, is going to be the deciding factor. If he plays on his game, they've got this series in the bag. If not,
I just don't know, man. Tampa's so good.
They are.
Brandon Hagel's a superstar somehow.
Yeah,
this guy's one of the best plays over point per game. He's one of the best players in the NHL.
Yeah,
and he's you're on your second, third line.
Yeah,
like that's nuts. Well, he's probably a first liner to be honest. Probably playing with Kucherov, but still.
Yeah.
Braden Point, Nikita Kucherov is
Nikita Kucherov
is sneakily the best player in the NHL. I think you could argue that he's the best player in the NHL, which is nuts because it looks like he's not trying.
Yeah.
This team is just so good.
They are.
And then you look for a hole in their lineup. I guess defensive depth would be the biggest hole, but you have Andrei Vasilevsky, who, when he is playing well, he's, I would say, arguably the best goalie of all time.
I agree. Yeah.
He's insane.
Yeah.
Especially he's proven in the playoffs year after year after year that he can be the guy. He's the number one guy.
Yeah.
It's nuts. So I don't know. I think this playoff format robs us of this in the conference finals.
Yeah. I
don't know what it would have looked like if it were doing the 1-8 seeding, but
they would have played the Senators. The Lightning would have.
Yeah, this matchup should be way deeper than it is in the playoffs.
They would have played the Senators. Yeah. I think this would be an awesome second round series. Yeah. But again, the fact Grandma had wheels, she'd be a bike. So it's
it just pisses me off the fact that this series is a first round matchup and one of these teams is going home playing 7 games most likely.
Yeah.
I have Tampa in 7.
Okay.
It just sucks.
I'll change it to Panthers in 7 because I do think this series is going to go a long way. Yeah. And I think this is going to be the best series of the playoffs because of just the Battle of Florida. You've got the 2 Russian stud goalies in Bobrovsky and Vasilevsky. I think as a goalie, Vasilevsky's probably better than Bobrovsky.
He's so good. Well, Bob is too.
But Bob,
don't get me wrong, Bob is gross.
No, he is. But I think Vasilevsky, with his age, where they're at in their timeline right now, Vasilevsky's better. But if Bobrovsky's been
Bob's the same way. Yeah. Like, I do think if you're comparing peak to peak, I am a big fan of Vasilevsky. I think he's one of the best goalies of all time. And Bob is up there too, but I think there's an argument to be made that he is as good, as dominant, or better than Dominik Hasek, who I think is the best goalie ever. Which is nuts, and he's still playing at that level. It's not like he's 30, 31. Yeah. It's just insane. It's insane to me. But
this series is going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, I'm watching every game.
Yeah, watch this. If you're going to watch a first round series, it's this and maybe the Avalanche. To watch Mackenzie Blackwood.
If you're new to hockey and you want to get into hockey, watch this playoff series, and whoever wins it, watch them for the rest of the playoffs. Yeah. Because they're probably going to win. The cup winner for me is coming out of that round, out of that matchup.
I will say whoever wins that series is going on to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah.
I think they're going to play the Avs, though, and it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Well, we have a very similar playoff bracket.
Which is fine. But,
2 irrelevant matchups.
Yeah.
Next, Washington, Montreal.
Caps in 4.
Yeah, Caps in 5.
Yeah. We'll give Montreal have 1 at home because it's at home.
I think these next 2 series, this series and the next series, is going to be a gentleman's sweep for both of them. I think Carolina's taking New Jersey in 5.
I do think there's a potential that Montreal could make some noise, and only because the Capitals are so burnt from trying to get Ovi.
That is true.
Ovi that record, the goals.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can see. And the Canadians are hungry, young, playing for the playoffs for the first time since COVID.
Yeah.
They're ready. And I think this series could be good. I think tonight, Monday night, will depend if the Capitals just outplay them.
Yeah.
I think the Canadians are cooked. And I don't think the Canadians' defense or goalie, Sam Montembeault, is
anything to write home about.
No. Frankly, like anything to get past the first round.
If
let alone win a game in the playoffs.
Let's see. So Logan Thompson's out. He's injured.
Oh.
So it's Charlie Lindgren starting. Charlie Lindgren's a great goalie.
Yeah. But to
if
lose,
they can put up goals, then I think they might make noise. But if Charlie Lindgren plays as good as he can, I don't think this is going to be competitive at all.
Yeah.
I think because the Caps can score. They can score goals no matter if they're just force-feeding Ovi or not. Yeah. You're force-feeding the greatest goal scorer of all time.
Yeah.
I don't see it being close. And then their defense is good.
Yeah.
Like the Caps defense is a pretty solid, it's a stout team.
Yeah. And I think that's where the Canadians are falling short. It's just, I watched them play the Hurricanes. They almost choked that game.
Yeah.
In the last game of the season. But yeah, I think truly, I think it's going to be Caps in 5, but I also wouldn't be shocked if the Canadians steal a couple games.
Yeah.
And make it to 6 games. But again, I have to see game 1 and see how these teams play against each other to really know for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm like 90% positive that the Capitals will win this series.
Yeah.
Next one, Hurricanes, Devils. Talked about a little bit before. I think, like you said, gentleman's sweep.
Gentleman's sweep. New Jersey doesn't have anything right now.
It's tough.
Full healthy roster. This matchup's competitive.
Yeah, I agree.
But as they sit right now, it sucks for the Devils. But
yeah,
there's nothing you can do. The Carolina, regardless of their glaring holes in their roster and the fact that they have not changed anything in the last 4 years, their goalie is made of glass bones, paper skin.
Yep.
They're still a great hockey team.
Yeah.
And I think frankly, if they didn't have to play whoever wins that first series or that last series, which I think is going to be the Caps, if they didn't have to play the Caps, who I have a feeling are going to make a deep push, they might go to the third round, but you still have to play Tampa or Florida, and you're not better than Tampa or Florida.
No.
I'm just talking like the Leafs are irrelevant. They're not going anywhere, but you're going to play Tampa or Florida.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we can get into it later about
the
second round. But, all right, next one, Winnipeg and Blues. This is where we disagree.
I am taking Winnipeg pretty hard here.
Okay.
Especially out of that first game. I don't think Connor Hellebuck played great.
Yeah.
I don't think the goals that were scored were his fault. And at the end of the day, it's Connor Hellebuck who year in, year out has showed that he can be that guy. I mean, he's going to win the Vezina again this year. It's his 3rd time winning the Vezina in his career, 2nd in a row. He's a great fucking goalie.
He is.
And you'll look at Winnipeg's roster, they're a fucking wagon.
Yeah.
They can score, they can play defense, they have the best power play in the NHL, the second best power play in the NHL. The Blues have, I think, the worst penalty kill in the NHL.
Ooh.
Or it's pretty damn bad. It's like damn near the bottom. I just don't see a situation in which St. Louis can pull out of this. Sorry, I'm kind of talking to this at the mic. I don't see a situation in which St. Louis pulls this out. I have Winnipeg in 6.
Okay. I would say Blues in 7. And my reason is I just don't. I get that Hellebuck's an amazing goalie in the regular season. Mm-hmm. I have not seen shit from him in the playoffs. When the lights are bright, he turns in. Have you seen the video of that dog?
Yes.
Sits in the net and just gets pucks. That's him in the playoffs. And yeah, like game 1, obviously, like you said, not all of them are his fault. And same for Binnington though on the Blues. I mean, there was a couple goals where it's just there's nothing you can do as a goalie.
Yeah.
It's kind of comes down to your defense. However, the Blues came into this playoffs hot as shit. Mm-hmm. And yeah, they just lost the first game. again, I think we'll see how game 2 tonight goes.
Yeah.
And again, when they're at home, if they are a wagon, and like the tough part is for the Blues is their roster to me does not seem like a Stanley Cup roster at all.
The thing is, with how they finished this season, if I'm wrong on this pick, I have a feeling my bracket's fucked because St. Louis is probably going deep.
Yeah.
But I just don't see them beating Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Jordan Binnington is hot and cold. He's like the Katy Perry song.
Yeah.
It's either you're getting a fantastic goalie or you're getting a fucking shooter tutor.
Yeah.
And there's no in between. And if he flips his shit, then this team is fucked.
Yeah.
It's just...
That's my thing.
I can see him getting suspended. I can see him flipping his shit, getting suspended, and then you're running Ville Husso. I don't even know who their backup is. It's not Ville Husso anymore.
See, I think for Binnington, though, if you do get that lights out Binnington, like
Then
you said,
good.
they're going to go deep.
Then they're going deep.
But my thing is, I have not seen a lights out Hellebuck in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Regular season, again, I truly think there's a difference between the regular season and the playoffs in terms of style of play and just teams in general. It's a different season. The playoffs are a different season.
Here's the thing that I think is a big holdup for me on talking about Connor Hellebuck in that way is last year is what we like to reference a lot when saying Connor Hellebuck's a shooter tutor in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
They were playing the Avalanche.
True.
The Avalanche were not doing anything. Here's the thing, though. They played Dallas in the second round, and Dallas was gross, and they got beat by a better Dallas team, right? They're still the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really fault him for getting scored on a lot by the Avs. Look at Dallas yesterday.
Yeah, true.
It's like, I don't think that's the best example when comparing St. Louis and the Avs playing the Jets.
Yeah.
And we'll get into it, but I have the Avs beating Winnipeg in the second round.
Yeah.
Right? It's just
And I
that
think,
team is gross.
Yeah. I think for Winnipeg, it's even if you do go on, it's a tough road to the Stanley Cup.
The West is...
Yeah. It's the best conference, which is weird.
There are two throwaway rounds in the Eastern Conference that are like, we know who's winning that, right?
Yeah.
Realistically, there should be three. I just have this hope that Ottawa wins, right? The West is complete. You have 5 cup contenders in the West.
Yeah.
It's just it's just interesting.
No, it is. And I mean, I think the Hellebuck hate is also my coping for him. And also, it's a repeat of Canada versus U.S. in the Four Nations final game where Binnington turned it on.
We need Hellebuck to have a fucking heater for the Olympics next year.
I agree.
We need him to prove that he can be that guy in big games.
Yeah.
And take the U.S. to gold when we wallop Canada next year in the Olympics.
Which I'm hoping for. And I do hope that Hellebuck figures out how to be a playoff beast. And he's probably the Jets have run into some tough teams out of the West in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
But also in net for the U.S., like if it's not Hellebuck, we've also got Ottinger. Yeah. But he's got to prove himself. And we've also got Wolf who's coming up. Yeah. I don't think may not play in the Olympics next year. I just don't. I think
I don't see him there next year.
U.S. goalies is just too stacked.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the coming future, Wolves are, I think, going to be our guy for the U.S. And if he is a gamer, which I think he is, I go for the gamers. And I think Jordan Binnington's more of a gamer when it actually turns on. And I think, like you said, the tough part is him actually turning it on. And I don't know if that's going to happen.
The second matchup here, Dallas, Colorado. I have Colorado beating them in 6.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much of a conversation there. We already talked about it.
Yeah. No, I think,
Dallas is
Avalanche.
If Dallas has a completely healthy lineup, it's a different series.
Yeah, I agree.
But they don't, and they're missing one of the best defensemen in the world. That's a tough situation to be put in.
And Mackenzie Black was a dog.
And Mackenzie Blackwood is a dog.
Game 2, he's not a dog. That could change the series, but if he continues playing like this team, Yep. Okay, so Avalanche, I'm on the side with you there.
Vegas, Minnesota. Vegas. Yeah. I love Minnesota. If they can figure it out and make less mistakes, this is going to be a series to watch because that was a fun game 1. Even if they don't figure it out, this was a fun game one to watch, and I don't know if I've ever had fun watching. I've had fun one time watching a Vegas Knights game, and it was in 2019, Game 7, Round 1 That was the only time I ever had fun watching a Knights game.
Game 5, 6, and 7 in 2019 was the most fun I've had watching it because the Sharks won. But yeah, no, I agree. I think it's going to be the Knights, and like you said, Minnesota needs to limit their mistakes, and I don't know. Philip Gustafson or Aiden Hill. I mean, playoffs, I just go off of goalies at this point because it's these rosters can do anything, but if you get goalied like the Senators did, then, and obviously the Senators took penalties, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I think it's Knights in 6, or even I could see 5, frankly. Yeah. If Minnesota doesn't figure it out.
I had it in 5. I don't think... I wish they would because I love Minnesota as a hockey team. I actually really enjoy watching.
Yeah.
Kirill Kaprizov is awesome.
Oh, yeah.
He's one of my favorite players to watch in the NHL. That guy's sick. Mm-hmm. It's just, I don't see them do it. The Knights have been I feel like people are forgetting how good the Knights are because there's so many good teams in the Western Conference this year.
Nope, I agree.
They're still, that team, if they can get a little bit of momentum, they're going to the Cup Finals. It's just how it is. And I don't know. It's not fun for me to admit as a Sharks fan. I hate you, Vegas.
Yeah.
Talk about disliking the Habs. Vegas fans suck it. Actually, don't subscribe.
Yeah.
Just kidding. No.
You're not going to like anything we have to say.
You're not going to like anything we have to say. Yeah. But Vegas, if they can get on a heater, they're going deep.
Yep.
And
Vegas are always, they're sneaky. They're not even sneaky. I mean, they're the best team in Pacific.
They are.
And frankly, like you said, if they get a hold of, their voodoo magic that they have, they're going far.
Yep.
Okay, the next one, Kings, Oilers. I think this is another series to watch. We'll watch game 1 tonight. Oh, boy.
This is another series.
4th straight series of them playing together.
That sucks.
Edmonton's won all 3, but what do you think this time?
LA Kings in 7. You have a beat-up Edmonton Oilers roster. And this is the best, the last couple of years that the Kings, maybe not last season, but the 2 seasons before that the Kings made the playoffs, we were kind of in the situation where the West sucked. Mm-hmm. There were 2 or 3 teams out of the West that could seriously make a run.
Yeah.
And the East was the dominant conference, right? And it was like, whoever makes it to the West, it's Colorado, Dallas, or Edmonton coming out of it, or Vegas.
Yeah.
So there are 4 competitive teams. This year, I think the Kings are legitimate contenders, which is a whole lot different than even last season.
Yeah.
And they played the Oilers. This is the 4th time in a row that they played them, and this is the weakest Oilers roster that they've played.
Yeah.
I think it's a situation that is ideal for the Kings. And the Kings are gross. I think they're going to take it in 7. I think it'll be a tough series.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably beat them down a good bit. These teams don't like each other. I don't know if you watched that last game of the regular season or the last game they played each other the regular season. I think it was game 80 or game 81. And Kings beat them 5-0 and it got really gritty.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like that all 7 games, but I think the Kings are going to take it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's the Kings' year finally. I mean, I'd love... because both these teams I don't really enjoy at all.
I hate them both.
But I think, like you said, this Kings team also has the best home record in all of the NHL, I believe.
Yep. And they have home ice advantage.
Again, I think for me, though, the playoffs are just so different. I hate, not that I don't want to take regular season into account, but I truly think that the regular season is like its own season and the playoffs are just a completely different beast. But I do think that this Kings team, like you said, with the Oilers being injured, I think the saving grace for the Oilers is the fact that you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl.
Here's the thing.
And they could go off.
Those 2 guys could go off and the Kings are not scoring 7 goals a game.
Yeah.
Right? It's just how it is. But
they are scoring 7 goals a game, but the Oilers are scoring 8.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like these 2 players alone could do exactly what they did last season and take them to the Cup Finals.
Yeah,
which is what's crazy about this is I'm just writing off teams in the West because it's so competitive.
Yeah,
this team could very easily go back to the Cup Finals and win a Cup, frankly, with those two guys if they're playing it as they can play.
Yeah.
The thing is, they're both... McDavid's coming back from injury. Leon was just injured. I think he had 2 separate injuries back-to-back.
Yeah.
Who knows if they're going to be completely healthy, if they're playing injured, what's going on.
Yeah.
And that team is nowhere near deep enough to cover for that. No. They're not like the Stars where they could lose a Jason Robertson and still be competitive.
Yeah. If you lose one of those star two...
If you lose Connor McDavid or if you lose Leon Draisaitl...
You're screwed.
You are screwed. You're a one-man show.
Yeah.
You have Jeff Skinner on your first power play.
Which,
That's tough.
Jeff Skinner, shout out to him. This is his first playoff game tonight on Monday.
Oh, that's true.
In his over 1,000 game career. This guy was drafted, we talked about him earlier, it's 2011.
I think I saw a stat that his last playoff game, which was in the Canadian Hockey League, I think it was in the OHL, was before Instagram was invented. That was his last time playing a playoff game, was in the Memorial Cup playoffs.
That before Instagram. That's crazy. Yeah, because he went to... Who was he on? He was on
Carolina while they were bad.
Yeah, that's right.
He was on
Buffalo
Carolina while they were bad.
He got drafted by Carolina when they didn't make the playoffs. He got traded the year that the Carolina Hurricanes went to the playoffs and then has played on the Buffalo Sabres since this year, which obviously that they have not made a playoff game since I think I've been born.
That's just tough.
Yeah.
There's only one. I also saw another stat about that. Sorry, Buffalo Sabres fans. The only active NHL player that has played a playoff game with the Buffalo Sabres is Tyler Myers in his rookie year.
Oh, my God.
That's tough.
Yeah.
It's the only player who's active who has played an NHL playoff game with the Buffalo Sabres.
Jesus.
That is tough.
That's tough. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think back to the Oilers, like we said, out of the West, Winnipeg, contender.
Yeah.
St. Louis, if Binnington's on fire, contender.
They're a contender.
Dallas Stars could be a contender. There's only one game.
If they get their players back, they're a contender.
Avalanche.
They're a wagon.
Yeah. Avalanche, contender. Knights, contender. Wild, no offense, not a contender. They could, but they won't.
They could.
Kings, contender. Oilers, contender. Like, that is
7 contenders.
Insane.
Yeah.
7 contenders. You could maybe put the Blues on like that cuff.
You realistically have 2 out of the East.
But I want to keep them there.
Maybe Toronto, but you have 2 out of the East.
Move to the East. Toronto, I'd say, is a contender as much as history likes to show that they're not. I'll still put them in there. Tampa Bay, contender. Panthers, contender. Capitals, I don't want to put them too far.
I want them to win a cup.
Just because
I wouldn't call them a contender.
The path they have, they could make it to the 3rd round. I don't think they're beating any of those 3 teams I just named.
No.
Canadians, nope. Carolina, no.
Same thing with Caps. They're a great team. I could see them making a deep run.
Yep.
They're not beating Tampa. They're not beating Florida. No. They're not beating Toronto.
And Devils, they're just a shell of a team right now. So you have realistically like 3 contenders. You could say 4. You got 3. And out of the East, the West is just stacked and insane.
You want to go round by round for this? When second round comes around, we can talk about who the teams are currently in the playoffs and see who we got winning.
Well, let's say let's do that. But we'll say for the sake of this and see if we're right. But we can guess the Stanley Cup final, which I think is pretty similar.
Ours is the same. I think we just have a different team winning, or it's similar. I have the Avs out of the West playing Tampa out of the East. I have Tampa winning the Cup.
Okay. I would say
34 goals in that finals game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Final
series.
I would say Avs. I think the Avs are going to win the Stanley Cup.
Mm-hmm.
They're my favorite right now. But I think it's Avs and Panthers in the final.
Yeah. That'd be an electric final.
That would be a great final.
Yeah.
And even if it got that far, I might switch my bandwagon to the Panthers.
Yeah.
Because I've been wagoning them the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And I hate to fall off of it. The only time I'm coming off of it is when the Sharks are in the playoffs. But
then it's going to be Panthers, Sharks, Stanley Cup finals every year with the Sharks winning every one. Next 20 years.
True. Yeah, great point. But yeah, I think I'm officially hopping on the Colorado Avalanche bandwagon this playoff series, solely because of also Mackenzie Blackwood want to see him succeed.
Yeah. And if they get Gabe Landeskog back,
Oh my God.
That is a huge piece, even if he's a shell of his former self.
Yeah.
Just having your captain back is a huge piece.
Yeah. All right. Well, that I think wraps it up. We will go
a game
through.
For you.
Yep. We're going to do a game here at the end, but that's it for the playoff talk. Watch those games. We got, like we said, those series. I think if you want to watch anything, Tampa Bay Lightning, Panthers.
Watch that series.
Kings, Oilers. Jets, Blues, honestly, is a great series.
Yeah.
I would tune into games when you can. But
just watch every series.
Yeah, watch every series, frankly, except for maybe Canadians. I wouldn't watch their series.
Caps Canadians. Well, I want to see Ovi score hat tricks and take pictures with bombs again.
Yeah, that is true. Yep, I want to see that too. Yeah, honestly, watch everything. But all right, we're going to get into our game.
Okay, so here's what you're doing, Sean. I'm going to list off NHL captains of teams who are in the playoffs.
Okay.
This season, 2025 Stanley Cup playoffs. And you're going to blind rank them 1 through 5. So I got 5 players total for you. Okay. All right. We're going to start out with Nick Suzuki.
Okay. Captains in the playoffs, Nick Suzuki. I feel like there's a little trickery in here. I'm going to put him at 4.
You're going to put him at 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll put him at 4.
Okay. Good start. Number 2 is going to be Alexander Barkov.
Barkov? Oh, my God.
This is, by the way, off skill alone.
Yes.
Not off captaincy.
Right.
Off skill alone.
Right. Barkov, I have a feeling Ovi or McDavid's going to be in here. I don't want to put Barkov at 3, though. I do want to... This is tough. Okay. So I got Suzuki at 4. I don't want to put Barkov 2 because I know... I'll put Barkov 3.
Alexander Barkov at 3.
Oh my God, that might have been a bad choice.
Can't tell you. Hang on. Okay. Your third player on this list of the Dallas Stars, Jamie Benn.
See, I would have put Barkov. I would have put him 3rd if Barkov was 2. Damn it. Okay. Jamie Benn.
You got 1, 2, and 5.
Yeah. This is bad. I'm going to put Jamie Benn 5.
Ben at number 5.
Just because I want to leave 1 and 2 open, but it could be bad.
Okay. Your number 4 player is Brady Tkachuk.
Okay. So I have 1 and 2 open?
You have 1 and 2 open. Brady Tkachuk.
Don't love him at 2, but I'm going to put him at 2. And I...
Your number 1 captain, then, according to your list, is Adam Lowry of the Winnipeg Jets.
Oh no! You didn't pull out Ovi or McDavid. Oh my God!
So your list here, the best captain out of the 5 that I just ranked is Adam Lowry, based off skill. Number 2 is Brady Tkachuk. Number 3, Alexander Barkov. Number 4, Nick Suzuki. Number 5, Jamie Benn.
Okay. See, I would probably... Okay, I'd put Barkov 1 after all that.
Yeah.
Probably Tkachuk 2. I'd probably put Suzuki 3. And then Ben 4, Lowry 5.
That was what I was going for.
Yeah.
Hence why I listed it off in that order.
Yeah. No, that was good. I was waiting for... I was waiting for McDavid or Ovi to be there, but should have known.
So listen here, listeners. You heard it here first. Adam Lowry is the most skilled captain in the NHL.
We never miss. We're never wrong.
Yep, never wrong.
Yeah.
Adam Lowry is going to go on and have like 40 points this playoffs. Watch.
He could. Yeah. And then the list would be amazing.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, that was good. All right. Well, yeah, we're going to be doing these games during playoffs. Kind of make some fun clips out of it.
Yep.
And yeah, they're always fun because it's hard though.
At.
It's hard when you're like in the hot seat because you're like, I can totally mess this up. I don't know where you're going with this. But if you didn't see Alan's last week, go watch that one too. It was at the end of last week's episode. But
Zemgus Girgensons 2-way forward over Patrice Bergeron.
That was hilarious.
That's funny.
All right, guys, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week and we'll probably be halfway through most of these series. We can kind of give a little bit more in depth. We'll think about possibly turning things out a little bit quicker just because it's playoffs and things move fast. maybe next day stuff. But yeah, continue. Like we said, I think Florida and Tampa is your one to watch. If you didn't watch it last night, watch it tomorrow night on Thursday. So yeah, get that stuff in. And yeah, do you have anything else?
Don't got anything else.
Yeah, go follow us on Instagram. Do all that stuff. Subscribe. Hit that. We're trying to hit 100 again, like I said. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.